Srikanth, Secretary Rajan Babu, and friends whom I have known. Thank you very much, Mr. Madhu, for again thinking of me and calling me over. I especially like the way Mr. Rotarian Madhu crafts his words with extreme care and meticulous, attention to every detail. So I'll tell you that there is a proofreading error in my presentation, and I know that he will pick it up sometime. So, and I want him to also. So sometimes you leave mistakes so that people will take it up. Now, how many of you have bought spectacles from a shop called Specs Makers? Or how many of you have seen that shop at least? Specs Makers. Okay. How many of you have had a chai at a place called Chai Kings? Okay, 2 of you. How many have seen the outlet, Chai Kings, in many places? Okay. Now, how many of you have heard of a new cookware, ethnic cookware called Indus Valley? Okay, only Parveen there and one more here. They make 3 wooden spatulas and iron cookware, What is common between these 3? Okay, the 4th one is also there. Vaigai Sanitation. How many of you know this company? So many here. Okay. I am common across all these 4 companies. Okay. So I am going to talk a little bit about these companies because in my mind, while there is doom and gloom right now in the Indian economy and not just Indian economy globally, I feel that there is still pockets of opportunity for the right kind of players, and that's really going to be my focus. So if we can proceed to I'm sorry, I'll have to request our Honorable President. So if you look at the overall retail sales globally, the overall retail sales is more than these, it's a huge number. It's about 18.25 trillion. And last year it went up to about 18.84. Now, please understand India's economy is barely 1.9 to 2 trillion. So you can see the size of this industry, how big it is. In that, if you take online sales alone, that's roughly up in the order of about close to 3. Now if you notice, retail is growing only at 3.3%, but online is growing at close to 19%. So what does it tell you? That there is still a long, long way to go. Thirdly, what is very interesting is across the world, the web penetration is just about 15%. And 2 countries dominate. Of this 2.9 trillion, roughly more than half comes from 2 countries, USA and China. I'll just give you a very interesting statistic about China later. But if you look at India, the numbers, keep varying, or like our GDP numbers, depending on who you ask. So you get between 700 to 900, million, close to a billion, which is why if you take 32.7 billion, the 2.9% share doesn't work out quite correctly over 672. But anyway, it's roughly about 4 to 5% of retail sale is online sale, which means that there's such a huge way for online to still catch up. Still retail, offline retail is still dominant. Now just to give you an idea of how small India is, what Alibaba sells on one day, November 11th, 2018, India sells in the whole year. Just to tell you how small India is on online retail, what Alibaba does in one day, this one does in the whole year. And India does in the whole year. So 30 odd billion, it does in one day. That's the scale that China has reached. Just to give you an idea, therefore, next slide please. The top 10 players you will find, except for one Indian player, Flipkart, which is now an American company, unfortunately, and one Argentinian player, and one Japanese. The rest of the 7 are either American or Chinese. But look at the growth rates. Except for eBay, which is clocking single figure, everybody is clocking more than 20 odd percent, with the general median being upward of 30 odd, 33%. So it tells you that online is really, even in these large economies, still growing fairly significantly. So that's a lot of interesting things happening there. The next one. So what you see as key trends? First, you must say the consumer really is king today, because the whole business is being subsidized by a lot of cheap money so far. And we have all had a good ride in terms of deep discounts, in terms of being pampered with door delivery, in terms of unlimited returns, all kinds of things. So consumer really is very good, really having it very good. The whole retail business is undergoing transition, and I think if you don't change, like we saw in America, a lot of big companies suddenly closing down, you will see that happening here as well, more and more. Third, today is very difficult to say who's a technology company and who's a retail company, because where one begins, the other starts. When one ends, the other begins. So very difficult. Is Amazon really a technology company? It has 7-8 businesses. Retail is just one of them. Okay. Like for example, it's very prominent in data and storage, very prominent in publishing, very prominent in devices. So is it a technology company also having a retail business, or is it a retail business with a technology arm? So very difficult to say. So I like Warren Buffett's comment here. It's only when the tide goes out you know who's naked. So it's something like that, you know. We'll know who really can survive. You'll see that happening here as well, with different kinds of players already struggling to actually keep up with what is happening. The other two things which I'm finding very fascinating, because my business was data earlier, that data-driven marketing is today becoming enormous. So just to give you an idea, if you take the food aggregation, Swiggy does not share the data with any of its restaurant members. But Swiggy knows all the consumption patterns. It doesn't even tell the restaurant that it has sold food to you. All you know, the Swiggy guy comes, picks it up and gives it to somebody. Now the data of who's eating what food at what time, in which place, and from what kind of pricing, where all he's taking it from, only Swiggy has. Zomato and the others do share, but Swiggy does not share. Now this kind of data oligopolies are being created, creating a new kind of situation. So you are going to see some political nonsense also happening around this. Finally, you will find artificial intelligence becoming more prominent. Already you will see it. Many times you find when you are talking on the web, you are actually talking to a chatbot, machine learning chatbot. But you think you are talking to a human. That human is not no human, it's actually a machine who has understood what you are saying and is spewing it back at you. And you will find more of this coming. So let's move to the next slide. So three things I'm going to talk about. One is, this online, and there I'll talk about Indus Valley. Second is offline, where I'll talk about specs makers. Okay, and the third is the hybrid, where I'll talk about chai kings. In between, in offline, I'll also talk about Vaigai Sanitation. Vaigai was taken over by a company on which I am the independent director, a listed company called Shankara Building Products. So today you might see Vaigai, but you'll see underneath, Shankara Build Pro. So you will see that offline still has a lot of legs, especially in certain categories. May I request you, sir? So Indus Valley took a conscious call. This is a company that the angel network I'm part of, Chennai Angels, consciously invested in just a few months ago. We invested just a marginal sum of about 1.1 crores. And this company deliberately said will be an online-only brand. It's a very conscious decision. And it's very interesting that this IIM Raipur and Somaya husband-wife duo decided on this. And it is possible today to build an online-only brand. So let me show you some of their journey. Why do they expect this? As we saw before, India's online sales are anywhere from 70-80 billion to 120 billion targeted in the next 3-4 years. So one, it's a very large market. But within the market, the big guys like Amazon, Flipkart, Paytm, Snapdeal have taken away a big chunk of it. But we're finding very interesting niches within this. And I think there are a lot of niches out there. You will find, for example, in cosmetics, Nykaa and Purple have managed to create a fairly significant presence for themselves. Purple also is a Chennai Angels invested company, for your information. So we find that there are lots of niches out there, and I think if you are looking for things to do for your sons-in-law or sons or whatever, it's good to look at some of these. But there are some businesses which don't lend themselves to it. The second thing is, the scale up is rapidly possible. I will show you in a particular case when we invested in that company, across 3-4 outlets it was doing in a year just about 1 crore of revenues. After our funding and working with them, today you are finding that they are doing 1 crore per outlet, and today they have close to 20 odd outlets, which means that in a quick time you are able to scale up because you are not very asset heavy. you are able to scale up and get revenues which are significantly higher. For me, for your information, we also did an investment in a company called Velvet Case, which is going through a lot of turmoil. Okay, so some bets work, some bets don't work. That also happens. Then, if you look at it, many of these operations are very asset-light, or because many of you are chartered accountants here, we try to unfix what is generally fixed. So whatever is fixed cost, we try to see how much of it can be made variable. Okay? And finally, because you get the money upfront in most cases, in the classic online, your credit cycle is a lot better, generally. So what works, it works only if you have something fairly unique, very differentiated. Number two, you're very, very customer friendly. In the sense today you should be prepared for high returns. In certain categories like in footwear, women, I tell you, among the most dangerous shoppers. Returns are as high as 30 to 40% in footwear, in certain kinds of fashion, because some of the women shoppers wear it only for one weekend and return it. They have a 10 to 15-day return cycles. So you see many of these e-commerce companies having huge number of pairs of scuffed shoes because the ladies wear it once and then return it. But if you are not prepared for this kind of a game, it's a very challenging place to be in. The third thing that today is happening, and I'll talk to you a little bit about how Swiggy has made us lazy. Swiggy, Zomato, Uber Eats. First it gave you deep discounts and made you come and buy stuff through Swiggy. It also enticed the restaurants to come and log on to the platform and say be part of it, you'll get more customers. Today if you look at it, earlier they gave you cashbacks. Earlier they gave you free delivery. Today they charge delivery from you. They also many times charge the restaurant. Second, there's a commission that they charge on the restaurant. Third, sometimes there's a differential pricing. If you notice, if you're very careful, you'll notice it sometimes that what you first see on the menu card and what's billed to you are sometimes very different prices. So you'll notice a lot of things which have changed in just about under a year. So, but people, like for example, recently I went to New York, Uber prices are higher than the yellow taxi prices in New York today. Compared to 4 years back when it was the other way around, it was much cheaper. But today people are still taking Uber for the simple reason of convenience. And convenience seems to be a major factor out here. For a lot of people, especially millennials, they don't want to have assets, many of them. They don't want to own a car. They don't want to own even a fancy house. They'd rather stay with their parents still. So when you are a millennial type of person, you don't want to own, but you want to experience. So you are seeing all that kind of things. Next one. So if you notice, this company, for example, Indus Valley, more than 50% of its sales comes through its own website. And it drives a tremendous amount of traffic organically. Sorry, I'm going a little technical, which means through social media, through Facebook, especially very, very careful targeting. The beautiful thing about data-led businesses is that Facebook, etc., allows you to target specific segments. So in our case, we are looking at a lady who's typically between 24 to 35 years of age, in about 8 cities, who has a certain occupational profile. And therefore, when you see the ads, almost all of them are only going toward that kind of a segment. So today, unlike earlier days, you went to Hindu or Times of India and you did what is called spray and pray. You just did machine gun, hoping some guy will see. Today you can do very sharpshooter type of targeted advertising, targeted messaging. And that really is working out heavily. So what it means, I'll come to the next one, which is the next slide. So what we then do, this is some of the cookware that we have. You can see we source a lot of things from Madurai, for example, for the iron, dosa, tawa, etc. Some of the other cookware. Wooden spatulas are from different places. Many of these are made by artisans or cottage industries. So sourcing also becomes a bit of a challenge. One more slide on the products and then we'll quickly go. Yep. Okay, further. So now, if you notice, unlike in the good old days when you were doing retail, most of us never knew where a customer came from. Most of us never knew how much it cost us to get a customer. Most of us never knew how many times a customer will come back to us because we never kept track of him. Today all that is eminently possible. And today if you are not tracking data and finding out what is your customer acquisition cost, what's the lifetime value of your customer, what is the repeat purchase of that same customer, how to increase the basket. There is something called a bounce rate you will see here. Bounce rate is those who only come and see one page and don't come and see anything else and then run away from your site. So what you try to do is reduce the bounce rate, reduce your customer acquisition cost, increase the stickiness onto your website, all those kinds of things. Just to give you an idea, my friend who runs Carrot Lane, which is now part of the Tata Tanishq fold, do you know how many data points they keep track of? 4,000. 4,000. So just to make sure that they get the right kind of customer and the right kind of messaging. So suppose you are watching, today most of us are dual screen people. While I am watching TV, I also have a second one out here, you know, the phone. So many times what happens, I see something on TV, I see something on Netflix, I say, okay, let me just check what else is available. It's a very natural thing, and today it irritates your spouse, but you are constantly engaged, okay? Now in a dual screen phenomenon, the data points are much more difficult to track, but if you track it, you will find very interesting things happening, and that's basically what it is. So this is just to tell you that even a small company is tracking these kinds of numbers, okay? Now I move to the next thing, which is offline, which is specs makers. Very quickly, there are many product categories that still require offline connect. Specs makers has a big competitor online. That's called Lenskart. And there are lots of mom and pop stores. You know, for example, even this specs maker's father ran a small optical store, but he did not believe that his father's model was right. And what is very interesting about specs makers and the optical market is one company, Essilor Luxosity, controls, according to different estimates, 80% of the organized market or 50% of the total market. And Essilor Luxosity, in the next page I'll tell you, actually has brands like Ray-Ban, sunglasses, you can go to the next slide very quickly. See that? It has LensCrafter, Ray-Ban, Oakley, Sunglass Hut, Sears Optical, Target Optical, iMed, Vision Care, so it's there everywhere. It's a market capitalization of 57 billion and it's a revenues of about 9 billion euros. Okay. Such a large company, you are trying to fight it out against him in one of the more interesting markets, which is India. So today, Specs Makers has managed to hold its own, is 220 plus outlets. When we first invested in it, it was barely about 15 or 20 outlets. 220 are single city. Now for 220 plus outlets, 5 cities, growing rapidly, and more importantly, not taking a foreign brand, creating its own brand. So the premise I am putting forward to you, ladies and gentlemen, is that if an entrepreneur has guts and wants to build a domestic brand and is focused on domestic consumption, there is a lot of opportunity out here in the Indian market. Let me just continue out here. Next one. So here again, this company tracks. For example, one interesting thing I'll tell you is we have a walk-in counter on the ceiling. So we know how many people have come into the store because of the heat map. So we look at that to count the number of footfalls. How many footfalls were there? How many people then actually billed? Okay. Then how much was the value of the bill? Now, I think today, if you are not tracking things, you will lose track. That's the message I want to give you. But if you are tracking, there's a lot of opportunity. Let me quickly continue my story here. So, Specs Makers is very prosaic advertising. It never win any awards for its great advertising. Very quickly, most of it is offer-based, very clearly affordable eyewear for the average Indian. So typical store formats are 300 to 350. Out of the 220, probably 20 maybe are franchisee. That too where the company only has asked them to invest in money, but the company actually runs the operations. It's what we call FOCO, financial owned company operated kind of a model. This, for the first time 2 years ago, we said let's have a brand ambassador, and we brought in Ashwin Ravichandran as a brand ambassador. We thought he might give a slightly scholarly look, and he does all kinds of TVS deliveries also. So we thought he'll deliver us also the goods. So far it's actually helped us. Just to give you an idea, Fulcrum, the fund that I am on the board of advisors of, made a very healthy return by part exiting from this company. Just for the chartered accountants here, 69% IRR, you will agree, is a pretty good number to have. and it gave us back more than 27% of the investment of the fund. So you can say that, you know, we did pretty well money-wise also. Okay, let me continue the next one. I'll end this offline thing to tell you about Shankara. Shankara Build Pro, for many of you, of which I am an independent director, is almost 3,000 crore company, of which half of it comes from retail. So today we have 120 plus retail outlets in home and in home building improvement products, something like your Home Depot in the US or Lowe's, etc., etc. There is nobody in India who offers this. This is also the category that Amazon will not touch because it's a difficult category to do online. The reason is that even after you buy the product, I earlier was in Asian Paints, even after you buy a paint, you still have a lot of things to do. And for that you need influencers, you need, you know, the fellows who actually do the job, the plumber, electrician, painter, civil works guy, etc. So if you look at it, this fills in the gap. And today, more than 3 years back, 30% of our revenues came from retail. Today it's 55%. And just to give you an idea, the South Indian building market is 175,000 crores. Just the South Indian building market. All India 450,000 crores. Our company's turnover 3,000 crores, of which 1,500 is retail. Look at how much space we have to grow. So just to give you an idea, while on one side there is a lot of things to be afraid of, on the other side there's a lot of opportunity as well. Let me continue with the last model, which is this online, offline, or as people call it, phygital, physical plus digital, okay, which is the Chai Kings. Let me continue very quickly. This is the affordable tea in your neighborhood, okay, in a more decent atmosphere. Basically, that's the key premise. So, great tea minus compromises. We gave them about 2 crores just about a year ago. Just to give you a comparison, Chai Point raised about 34 million. Or roughly about 210 crores or 220 crores. So we are like 1% of what they raised. But we are already at some 24 outlets in less than 3 years and growing. Funny thing, we found 55% plus 50% of our sales comes online. I never thought people will buy a 20 rupee tea online. But they are. Okay, very strange, but it is happening. Let me continue with the next thing. So if you look at it, there is an innovation that they made, which is the chai flask, which covers about 5 teas. Okay. Now you'll be very surprised. This fellow is one of the fastest moving things. There are lots of offices who have stopped their tea boy because they are actually getting quality tea, which stays hot, any kind of flavor, in units of 5 at any time. And they don't have to send their office boy. It is delivered by some Swiggy or Uber Eats or Food Panda or is dead. But you know, Zomato. Let's continue. So if you look at it, they have now very different models. They have a model which is offline, and there again, if you look at it, they have the classic own store. They have the franchise JV they are not doing yet, but they have outlets in a mall. So there's no store as such. It's an open kind of a kiosk format. There's also an IT park format. But the interesting thing is what you see offline, in online. Online today, it's possible, like Fasos has demonstrated, to build a brand without having a physical restaurant. Imagine you have a Buhari without having a Buhari physical restaurant. That's possible today, ladies and gentlemen, and there is an opportunity here. Today, we are finding that there is no need for us in certain localities to have a full-fledged store. That store is only a lead generator or making people come and see, get the brand. Most sales happen on the phone, the web, app, etc. And you can have what we call a ghost kitchen or a dark kitchen, which is in a very low-cost area. You make the tea, you make the snacks or whatever and send it out. Now, there is a log-out campaign right now against Zomato and Swiggy and all happening in India. There's a new problem that we are seeing. Trade unions on one side or associations of the aggregators and associations of restaurateurs fighting it out. So we'll see more of it happening. Okay, let's just continue. Even New York Times 4 days ago wrote about this. The rise of the virtual restaurant. So you don't need a waiter, you don't need a physical restaurant, but you can still have a restaurant. You can still have a brand. So imagine the concept today. If you have like Mr. Sheshadri's son-in-law, has food, idli factory. Sorry, Rajan's. Keep confusing sometimes, my bad. So his son-in-law does the idli factory. Idli factory doesn't have a restaurant, but it has it's like an FMCG product. But technically it's possible for idli factory to extend itself and actually create more fresh idlis, which ride on top of the idli factory brand. Technically, it's possible. And you can actually make a big business out of it. Okay, we are coming to the last 3, 4. So if I look at it, the trends, opportunities that I see in India, one, powerful in certain businesses, like I see where you have to see, touch, feel. Use online for discovery, for comparison. Okay, use offline for evaluation and part fulfillment. Okay, and for post-purchase, like if you take home building products, you need that physical store to do a lot of things after you purchase. So you need that place, the physical place. So how do you do all of this? Second, you'll find there are lots of examples like First Cry, Nykaa, Mintra, which have got in fashion, cosmetics, opticals, home products, quite a few lend themselves very amenably, and jewelry lend themselves very amenably to all of this. Second, you need experience stores. So you'll find Kajaria, for example, in home building has experience stores. Pariware Roka has an experience store because customers want to feel how their product is before they actually buy it. So you're going to see a lot more experiential marketing. Third, you'll find people going by people's recommendations. So this is called social commerce. So Mr. Rajan says, buy idli factory. If you did not know it was a son-in-law, you'll say, I must eat it today. Okay. So that's the believability and credibility factor, and people are today using it. Just to give you an idea, Sonam Kapoor, if she mentions your brand once, she gets paid 4 lakhs on Twitter. Kim Kardashian gets paid 1 million for one tweet which will last 24 hours. After that, the tweet is removed. So you'll get the social influencers also becoming more and more important as social commerce also happens. Okay, so you'll find all these enablers also, like you have Rivigo. That's also unicorn today. It's more than $1 billion valuation. Rivigo. Okay, we'll continue. So this influencer marketing I already talked about. And today you're also finding people, instead of going to a store, you can have these virtual walkthroughs. So imagine how this product feels. You can get those lenses. You can feel how the product is. You're going to see more and more of it. I already said AI will drive 85% of the transactions. It's already started happening. More and more you'll find people actually getting data and therefore performance-based marketing. And finally, I already talked about niches that are going to happen. There are a lot of niches available also for all of you here. I think with this, I've kind of concluded. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.